Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of What Did I Make This Week? I'm Marliese, and this is Bitnits. This was truly a week of smaller type projects, such as appliques and garlands. I worked a whole lot on little appliques, and I created some garlands, so we'll take a look at those. I also spent Monday not doing a whole lot. It was beautiful outside, sunny, warm. I grabbed a book and I read. I'm reading tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. Just started it on Monday. I got about 60 pages in so far, enjoying it. So I really didn't do a whole lot on Monday. Sunday and over the weekend is when I did the majority of my crafting, and I worked up some appliques, little bunny appliques. Now these I am going to string up into a garland. I had started working a chain in white, and then I decided no, I don't really like how it's looking, so I might just hang these on a twine and call it good. But I made 8 in pink, and I do have a tutorial on these bunnies. And in fact, if you want a continuous join as you go garland, I have a tutorial for that style also on my channel. And those are so fun, the continuous crochet as you go garlands, because there's no ends. You work the starting chain and then you work the applique right into the chain, and then you continue a chain, work another applique, continue the chain, work another applique, and you don't have all of the individual applique ends to weave in. So I absolutely love those. I'm not sure why I didn't do it for these, but I think I wasn't sure where I was going with the appliques. I wasn't sure if I was going to put them on a blanket or another project. So I just made a whole bunch of individual appliques, and now I've decided, yes, I do actually want garland. So I've got 8 in pink and then 8 in yellow. So they come out really cute. They're really fast. I mean, these took me maybe 2 minutes each to make. And so if you do the continuous garland route, the garlands are done in no time. So I've got a whole bunch of bunnies, and I will string those up a little bit later at some point. I'd like to get it finished today so I can be done with those, since the hard part is done. Next up, one of my favorite. Look at all of these flowers. Now I know this looks a little bit of a mess, but how pretty. All right, so let's take a look at them each individually. I made a pink flower garland. These are really simple, quick little flowers, and then I strung them all up onto a green garland. So we've got pink, and I wrote the pattern up really quickly, I think on Sunday, because I did all of these on Sunday, and I will have a full tutorial for you at some point. I did do a quick short writing really quickly, like very basic how the pattern is. So if you watch that, you might be able to kind of get it on your own. But I just think they came out so cute, so small. Here's sort of a sunflower color one I did. So you just work a center round, and then you work one round for the petals, and you get a really nice, easy flower. You can use these appliques on really anything. You can put them on blankets, hats, shirts. You can make patches or just whatever your little heart desires. So I really, really like how these came out and how quick they were. So I've got a whole bunch of flower garlands, and I am definitely going to do tons more of these at some point. These took me a good amount of time on Sunday, because I would work a few flowers, do something else, work a few more flowers, do something else, and keep coming back. So I didn't work on it all in one go. So this was pretty much my Sunday project. We had family come over later, so I can't really tell you exactly how long each of these took, but it wasn't terribly long. So those are the appliques garlands that I made. I also did a square from a year of Granny Squares. If you remember from last week, this is the square that I did. It's the first square in the book. This one was called Spring Kite, I think. Yeah, so that one was Spring Kite. They've got theirs in there, and then there's my green and yellow and white square. I had forgotten to work this up all during the week, and so last night, as I was finally kind of settling in, I finished work, nothing else to do that was pressing or urgent. I came over to this little area to kind of see what all I had to talk about for today, and realized I hadn't made square number 2 yet. So I did that. This one took me a longer time than I expected. I don't know why. It is a little bit more complicated. So we've got First Bloom. So you can see it's a nice flower, and then you just work in rounds to create the kind of background border. And here's mine. So I haven't blocked it yet, and this square definitely needs some blocking. So I've got my center round in the yellow, and then you work the first round of petals there in the purple, and then we've got sort of the darker pink behind it. You kind of work behind those first petals that you did and into that center yellow. So it's a little bit fiddly, I guess. It's not hard, it's just not quick either. And then here's the back, so you can see the back. Then you work just the rounds of green. For this square, I used mainly the Bernat Super Saver. Got some right here, so the purple and the pink was the Bernat Super Saver, and then the green was the Red Heart Super Saver. And the yellow is just a one-off. I think it's the same yellow that I used for my little bunnies. And it's not a Bernat or a Red Heart. It's kind of a one-off yarn that I got, I think, in a Mary Maxim mystery yarn bag. So I decided I need to start using that. So there's the square. And it does need blocking. It took a lot longer, even the green portion, which I thought once I hit that green, I would just fly through. Nope. These are all single crochets, and there's a lot of counting, so you make sure that you have the right number of single crochets before you start sort of this corner chain spaces and the actual corners. So that took a little bit, and just me reading the pattern. The pattern along with the chart, super helpful. So I mainly read the pattern for this one, but if I wasn't following it, I could just go and look at the chart. This chart was a little bit more complicated. Let me show you. I don't know if you can see. It's a very complicated chart because you're working behind and into like round 2 down here, and both petals, and then the counting and the chains and making sure that you are on track as you're working around the granny square. But I like how it came out. It does need blocking, but I think I'm really gonna like putting these all together. And I've decided, since I've used so much green already, for most of these squares, I'm going to try to make this the main color. And then when I put it all together, it'll be tied, all of the squares will be tied together using that green. If I have enough, we'll see. And that's all that I got finished this week. I have a plushy turtle that is still on my hook, and I am struggling with that. So hopefully next week I can show you a finished turtle. I also have some blankets. I say this every week. I also have blankets on my hook somewhere. Multiple blankets, multiple blankets. One of these days I will get at least one of them finished so I can show you. So that wraps up this week's What Did I Make Wednesday. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.